In a distant land, where time itself holds secrets, there lives a story of wonder and trial, a story written on ancient pages, waiting to be told. Winter reigns with icy silence, covering the forest in a blanket of snow. The world sleeps under its frozen spell. But in this silence walks a young girl, brave and gentle, carrying her small basket into the endless snow. Her breath turns to mist in the bitter cold, yet her eyes shine with quiet strength and hope. The path stretches before her, lonely and cold, yet she moves forward, drawn by fate unseen. A frozen branch brushes her hand, sharp with frost, the forest itself testing her courage. At last, she steps into a quiet clearing, holding only a small fir branch in her hands. But when she looked down, her basket was empty. No matter how hard she searched, the forest gave her nothing, and her heart grew heavy with worry. With her basket still empty, the young girl walks slowly through the snowy forest. Each step feels heavy, yet she keeps moving forward, hoping to find her way home before the night falls. There, among the frozen woods, stands the house she must return to, where harsh voices always await her. By the cottage, the young girl works hard, chopping firewood with all her strength. The frosty air bites her skin, but she does not stop. Suddenly, she lifts her head as if sensing that someone is watching her. The stepmother stands in the doorway with a stern and unyielding look. She doesn't say anything, but her silence seems heavier than words. The girl knows that no amount of effort will be enough to make her stepmother happy with her. By the warm fire, the stepsister sits idly with folded arms. She does no work, content in her comfort, while all the burdens fall on the girl she scorns. Meanwhile, the girl kneels at the hearth, carefully sweeping away the ash. Her face glows faintly in the firelight, though her hands are blackened with soot. From dawn until night, her chores never end. Now she sweeps the wooden floor, her tired arms moving steadily, each stroke of the broom a quiet act of patience and endurance. At last, the stepmother speaks. Her tone is sharp, her command impossible. She orders the girl to go into the forest and bring back snowdrops, though winter still reigns. The task is cruel, yet the girl lowers her head in obedience, knowing she cannot refuse. Through the forest she walks again, snow crunching under her warm boots. The trees tower above, their branches heavy with ice, as silence wraps around her like a cloak. Suddenly, the snow beneath her gives way. She stumbles, falling into the drift, her breath caught in the cold. Struggling up, she grasps a frozen tree with her bare hand, the ice biting into her skin. The girl's basket slips from her hands as she falls. It lands softly in the snow, lying empty and forgotten, a symbol of her hardship in the cruel winter night. The girl rises, takes the basket into her hands, and brushes the snow from her clothes. Frost clings to her lashes, tiny icicles weighing them down. Yet, her eyes still shine with quiet strength. Through the darkening forest she walks on, each step slower, heavier. The day fades, and shadows deepen. Yet, she presses forward with trembling resolve. Then, light ahead. A fire flickers in the distance, glowing warmly against the endless snow. Hope stirs in her weary heart. She steps into a clearing where a great fire burns. Around it sit 12 figures, spirits of the month, each cloaked in mystery. January, the eldest of the 12, sits by the fire with a stern yet thoughtful gaze. His voice is deep, echoing through the night. Why do you wander here, child, in the bitter frost? What brings you before us? The girl stands before the fire, her voice trembling yet sincere as she tells her story. She speaks of her cruel stepmother, of endless chores, and of the impossible task of finding spring flowers in the heart of winter. The 12 spirits listen in complete silence. High above, The night sky glimmers with stars, and the northern lights weave their magic across the heavens, as if nature itself pauses to listen. January, with his deep and steady voice, turns to March. "Brother," he says, "lend her your warmth and your gift. Help her find what she seeks." The younger month nods in quiet agreement. March lifting his hand, the snow begins to melt around the fire, the earth awakens, and tender snowdrops push through the soil, glowing like pearls against the dark forest floor. The girl kneels with wonder, gently gathering the fragile blossoms into her basket, each flower a promise of hope and kindness. With her basket now filled, the girl turns to the spirits. Bowing deeply, she thanks them from the depths of her heart, her gratitude shining brighter than the fire itself. With her basket full of snowdrops, the girl steps away from the warm fire. The forest is still dark and cold, but in her heart, a new light of hope begins to glow. As she walks, the flowers in her basket begin to glow softly, their light shimmering like little stars in the night. The magical glow lights her way through the forest. Step by step, she moves forward, guided by the gentle radiance of the snowdrops. Her face grows tense as the familiar outline of her home comes into view. The glowing basket rests close to her, a fragile comfort in the looming night. Still walking through the darkness, she sees the house ahead. The light of the snowdrops leads her, as though the forest itself is showing her the way. At last, she steps inside and places the glowing basket upon the table. Stepmother rushed to the table, her eyes wide with disbelief. Snowdrops, blooming in the heart of winter, filled the basket. For a moment, she could not believe her own eyes. Such a miracle seemed impossible. But greed soon overshadowed wonder. Neither she nor her daughter could accept what they saw. Determined, they chose to venture into the forest themselves. Through deep snow they went, the stepmother with a lantern in hand, and behind her the lazy daughter. Their home slowly disappeared in the darkness. The farther they went, the harsher the storm became. The blizzard howled louder, the snow fell heavier, and every step was a struggle. Above them stretched a sky full of stars, shimmering with a glow, as if the heavens themselves were watching their reckless journey. They stumbled upon a clearing. There, blazing brightly, was the very fire the girl had found. Around it sat the 12 spirits of the months. The stepmother and her daughter froze in awe, their greed turning into fear as they gazed at the guardians of time. Angry January struck the fire, his voice echoing through the forest. And with that, the path of the stepmother and her daughter came to an end. They vanished into the storm, never to trouble the girl again. Slowly, the night gave way to dawn. The snow softened, and spring began to awaken. From that time on, the girl lived in peace, free from cruelty and fear. With joy in her heart, the girl stood under the spring sun, holding a basket of snowdrops, flowers of hope, kindness, and new beginnings. And so, the tale reminds us, kindness and patience bring light even in the darkest winter, while greed and cruelty fade like snow before the warmth of spring.